Oh, hello, hello.
Oh, hello, hello.
Hello.
Anybody from the Android faithfuls joining
Yes,
us?
we're about
They're
to
like,
talk about iPads. Can't think of what you would want more than that.
everybody listening to Android faithfuls like, see ya, bye.
Oh, stay with us, won't you? Eileen and I are
Don't you
really
want to know?
great.
Don't you want to know the shenanigans over at the fruit over at the place that serves fruit?
The fruit, yeah. For anybody who is joining us on the live stream, I am sorry in advance for the sun that's going to come into my office and be weird for the entirety of this program. We don't usually do our show at this time. So, live and learn.
Visionaires, everybody, you guys out there. Don't worry about Sarah.
C Potts is in here from DTS and Android Faithful. Look at you, just getting the triple run today. Look at you.
They just can't wait to know how we feel about the iPad Mini. Sarah,
they can't wait to be as disappointed as I can only imagine all of us are. What? Did I say that out loud? Am I spoiling things for my family?
Oh, I don't know if I'm one of them, but I'm not like, well, save it for the show. I'm gonna save it for
I'm not on the show. I can spoil it all I want.
You're sometimes on the show.
Oh my goodness.
I feel like I look like a burn victim at this point. Like, oh, poor Sarah. Like, no, whatever.
It is. You've got like pink here, and then like your forehead is white. Yeah, it's a little.
You're proving you're not a vampire. That's what you're doing. This is your non-vampire.
True. Not vampire. True. Yeah. And if anybody had thoughts, here we are.
Now, Amos and I,
in case they did. Yeah, no, I'm a total vampire. Like I'll tell you.
Oh
right now.
wow.
Yeah.
I might be a werewolf. You guys don't know that.
I sparkle in
There's
the
no
sun,
full moon tonight.
Werewolf, huh? Interesting.
Could Eileen. Be. I love dogs.
Never knew
Same
that
species.
About you.
So, on the TikTok, right? When
you're on the TikToks.
When your significant other or your friends or whatever, they send you things and they send you like a couple of them, and then suddenly you start going down their rabbit holes through your account.
Sure, because you just get served that content.
Yeah. No, I've had a rash of what do they call it? Fairy corn.
What the heck is that? You mean like it's what is it?
You can imagine it's well, you know what fairies are, right?
Like food?
Like
yes, of course.
Mystical creatures, and then
yeah,
corn.
It's like what they eat. Fairies eat corn.
No, corn, as in like what people say when they don't want to say something else.
Oh no!
And then you put that in a literary form, and that's what my TikTok has been serving me up lately because of like other random things that have been
Wattpad story.
It's the whole romance section of the library when I grew up is much different now, and I'm finding out all about it.
Well, wow.
Yeah.
How about that?
It's a confluence of things that my wife has sent me, and then things that another friend of mine has sent me, and then me doing my own little rabbit hole searching. And now TikTok is thinking that I'm like, I'm into.
Well, now you just gotta hit
like,
not interested. Not interested. Like
it's
otherwise you forget it.
But I gotta say though, they're pretty funny. So.
W. Scottus one says, "Yeah, those naughty bushels."
There we go.
See, This is what happens when we're on at 6:30 because after dark. We never have conversations like this.
The sun killing
werewolf. Very corn.
I look like a burn victim.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, definitely go and delete Amos. Just hit not interested. Like honestly, when I launched our Apple Vision Show TikTok recently, I've been getting a lot of true crime when I am on our account. I'm like, no, I don't need can I get technology coming to me instead of true crime? Yet another one and another one. I was like, well, I guess I watched one and I was interested, and it just kept going.
Well,
and I'm like,
I mean, I'll tell you. I mean, I don't hang out on TikTok as much as Instagram, but like there are so many reels on Instagram where I'm like, I go in, I say like not interested, and it's like, why aren't you? Was this like upsetting to you? I'm like, no, I'm just not interested.
Yes, please don't take me down this rabbit hole.
Yeah, like I don't even want to talk about all the stuff that they're serving me.
I still have 3 different personalities according to YouTube. On my iPad that basically stays in my bathroom, I listen to true crime while I'm in the shower at night. So as soon as I log into that on YouTube, it shows me true crime stuff. My phone, I fall asleep to like science and astronomy or astrology, whichever one is the science one. I fall asleep to that, like speeches and things like that about the stars and you know, relativity and infinity and all that kind of stuff. So if I look at YouTube on my phone, that's what I get served up. And then on my computer down here, I get MMA and NASCAR. But YouTube knows.
It's weird how
it's all the same account.
It is all the same account. That's interesting because, you know, we have 2 Apple TVs, and when I connect in my bedroom, sometimes I have like sleep music, you know, or like rain, you know, whatever, ASMR, just to help me sleep, you know. Those like 10 hours you will fall asleep instantly. No, I don't, but it's still nice to have on so I can hopefully fall asleep. But, you know, in the living room, it's just a bunch of K-pop. But it's the weirdest thing that they don't talk. And like it's all still sleep noise and like ding.
They should talk.
They should. I sometimes see the sleep stuff and the K-pop stuff, but it's weird how it is still completely different. Now the phone actually gets them all.
Different accounts?
No, it's my account. I made sure.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
If I was on my iPad, it would take me forever to find like, you know, 3 hours of useless Fallout facts to fall asleep to. But if I was on my phone, that'd be like the 3rd item on the list.
Yeah, so, weird.
Yeah,
interesting. It's just where you are in the algorithm of that device, right? Oh, they know. Yeah. See, they're starting to learn where you are.
Device ID and habits on what time you watch certain things and on which device. I mean, YouTube can probably tell you a bit more about my sleep habits than anybody else.
I definitely turn on that TV like late, you know, because if I'm trying to like go to bed at like 11 o'clock, let's do the sleep sounds. Anyway.
Oh yeah.
What we say, everybody.
I am well aware of that. I'm like white noise, just like shh. That is better than silence for me.
Yeah.
Give me white noise. Truly. Yeah.
Yep.
It works.
And,
I like it.
White noise at about 58 degrees with a really heavy blanket. Done.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. Taking it up a notch. All right. Well, I'm gonna try to get away from the devil's sun.
It's burning you. We just need to put fire as like your emoji right now. Is that possible?
I'm like in between, you know. Yeah. All right.
I'll just bring up whatever you guys are talking about as it comes up, because it's just one website. So
one website.
Yep.
All right.
It's the
okay.
Let me
all right.
Over here.
Well, I'm ready to rock.
Same.
Y'all are.
Go ahead and do y'all little count in.
Okay. Let's count us in 3, 2. Well, hello and welcome to Apple Vision Show. All things Apple. I'm Sarah Lane.
And I'm Eileen Rivera.
And we are talking about Apple's big announcement today. We're going to talk about other things, obviously. But for anybody who is watching us live, thank you for being here. For anybody who's with us on demand after the fact, we decided to wait until Apple announced its stuff, iPad stuff, this morning to make our show fresher for you. So
I gotta say, Sarah, we did well with our predictions. Very well.
I think we did. I
know, I know there was one controversial one, but we'll save that for the last, I think. But I was like, yep, check, we said that. Yep, check, we said that. I know we got a little bit of lift from Mr. Gurman, but I was like, no, we got that and that and that. So if you listen to our last episode, we could tell the future, as you now know.
Yeah, we're future tellers. That's sort of you can just sort of pack it up and go home at this point. But if you'd like to stay with us for the episode, lot to talk about. And you know what was funny? Eileen, when I first got up this morning, I got up at 6:30 p.m. a.m. Pacific time as usual, and was sort of like, usually I, make coffee, take the dog out, but I was like, no, Apple announcement at 7 a.m. Pacific time. That's unusual. Usually it's at 10. And that was kind of fun, to be honest. I made some coffee, I sat down, and I was like, let's do this, put my headphones on, taking notes. And I mean, in 38 minutes, it was over.
I know. So quick, right? Like I was I stayed in bed, I had it on, and I just kind of listened to everything. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to watch this over again anyway and, throw it into our show notes and stuff later. But it was really pleasant, and it was short, it was succinct. I had some, head scratching, like, why are they crushing things? And then, had some other questions, but then by the end of it, I was like, they were like pretty clear about what it was, so
it's funny that you mentioned the crushing things, because I didn't see a lot of people online like talking about that, but
I was surprised.
So for anybody who didn't watch the keynote, at the beginning, it was sort of like, a crushing of all sorts of like beloved, I don't know, items. Yeah. Physical items. And it sort of seemed sad to me, where I was like, what are they doing?
I know, like, why? And it was all set to share a Cher song. I don't even know what song that was, because I'm not too terribly familiar with Cher. But I was like,
same.
Why are they doing this? And then, it was over. I just, and then they also were like on the BART transportation system, the train to, like you need your iPad Air and you can use it really well, on public transportation. I was like, okay. They were stressing that they were all over the place in libraries, schools, and all that good stuff. Like, it was interesting. All the places we went, all the things we needed to crush. And I was actually looking for that video. I think they were like crushing a piano and like dolls and
it was like crushing like sort of like beloved little toys, where I was like, why are we doing this? It felt very sort of violent.
Yeah, and like that was just to symbolize you can smash that all and have the experience of all of these things in your iPad. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think that was the point. It did feel like I was like, I don't know how this is gonna land. But I don't know. Maybe it was just you and me. I was sort of like, I don't like this.
I know.
So like, oh, what are we at? Like a dump?
We're Like we really were like the dump, where you crush your cars and stuff like that. Weird Army in chat says it was a reference to those Cheez-It commercials, all that stuff inside an iPad. I don't think I know these Cheez-It commercials.
I don't think I do either.
I'm so sorry I didn't get it.
I love Cheez-Its though.
I love Cheez-Its
I
too.
mean, sure, let's do it. But yeah, that was my first reaction was like, number one, like, is this a Cher song? I think so. And number two, like, oh man, why are they crushing all these like beloved toys? That's not nice. Paint, coming out of the outside of the piano, just like it was sort of strange. And then it was never mentioned again. It was like, oh, it's all just in the iPad now. And I was like, well, okay.
There were like Angry Bird dolls, so I'm like, okay, for gaming, like
right.
it's just
but like
in
they
there,
also like killed them. It was a weird flex. It was a weird flex.
Yeah. I know that they were meaning we're gonna crush it, and also physically crush it and put it in your, they had a lot of music. They had a lot of things related to creativity. I'm actually rewinding it and watching it myself now, watching everything explode, and camera lenses, guitars, even they like focused on like the statue of, I think it would be Mozart or Brahms. I don't know who. Like, okay, I get
it.
Right.
And at the very end, I don't know like what the reference was, but it was like a cute little, like ogly-eyed little monster, and it was like, and we're gonna crush you and kill you. And like the eyes pop out, and I was like, that's weird. But okay.
All right. I didn't mind the break, like to see something visual, from all the talking, but it was like, okay, awesome. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. But other than that, I mean, everybody, explained things decently. And, I thought I'm very thankful for the compact, because like in years past, and it's been a while since I've actually covered an Apple event, but in years past, they have gone on, and then we have musical guests, and then we have, oh my God, it's like,
well,
can we
it's
just be
often, for those of us on the West Coast, and I know the East Coast people, have their own grievances with the timing, but it's like, for those of us on the West Coast who do Daily Tech News Show, for example, it's like, oh, it's going to start at 10. It's probably going to go to about noon. And now we're effed because we have to like scramble and then start the show like really soon after that, Right. So like 7 a.m. I was like, thank you, Tim Cook. Thank you, Tim Cook, with your iPad shoes.
Yeah, like first of all, I didn't understand that. I started seeing that on social media. So if you don't know, Tim Cook was wearing new shoes that were designed on the new iPads with the new iPad Pencil, which we'll talk about in just a second. And the company that made them is like obviously touting that now. And I'm like, I honestly didn't make the connection until later this afternoon when you showed me, Sarah. I was like, oh. So we're kind of tying this all together, but like, okay, what do you think about his shoes?
I mean, so funny enough. So for anybody who's like, what are you guys talking about?
I know,
Apple,
we're just talking.
Apple's official account on Instagram and maybe in other places, we're like, and just so you know, Tim Cook's shoes were an iPad original. And then that was picked up by, I guess it was Nike. And, and a friend of mine sent it to me like, oh, Sarah, you must really be into this. And I was like, what? I didn't even notice his shoes this morning because I was barely awake. But I guess the whole point was that you could use an iPad to design your own shoes. I guess.
Yeah, I guess they just wanted to show the power of the iPad, and we're gonna. No, I mean,
didn't
honestly,
really explain how that would happen or how anyone else would do that, but it was like Nike was like 1 for 1. Tim Cook's, iPad shoes. They look
I
cool.
literally I was looking for a link. I'm like, is this can you purchase this or anything?
Yeah.
It didn't look like it just seemed to be like, nope, made by Nick Sokoloff. So good for you, Nick, for getting the a little promo.
Love
here.
it.
Good job.
Love it.
Good job.
What was funny, so speaking of Tim Cook, who I have no beef with, love you, Tim.
Oh,
Tim is like, he shows up at the beginning. Hello, welcome to the Apple campus. We have so much in store for you. And then it's like, and I will now hand it over to so-and-so. And then that person, hands it over to the next 6 to 7 people. And then, at the end, Tim is like, thank you for coming. No, I mean, he's a busy man. That's fine.
He's busy. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's, it's sort of like, okay, all right. Well,
peace.
Cool shoes.
I thought about it too when he said goodbye, and I was like looking at his eyes. I'm like, "Are you doing okay, dude? Was this a lot? Did you purposely truncate this because you knew you didn't have time because you've got other things to do, like WWDC coming up in a month? You're like, we're gonna make this one short. We're gonna pre-record this. Oh, we're also gonna make sure we record everything on iPhone and edit on both the Mac and the iPad." Interesting that they had to say both the Mac and the iPad, because I thought maybe they were going to try and edit the whole dang thing on the iPad. But no, that would have been a flex. They didn't do it. They kept, it's one thing to shoot. Well, they could have shot the whole thing. Although, you know what? I don't want to jump the gun because we're talking about Final Cut. So it's probably why they use the iPhone also.
Yeah.
But
well, okay. So here we are in the keynote, and we immediately go to, after a very, very short, hey, Apple Vision Pro, loved by people who work in industries worldwide. Mm-hmm. For example, a doctor, a filmmaker. What was the other one?
At the automotive.
Porsche. So like, just so you know, we're doing good. But let's get to the iPad Air. And yeah, I mean, the big thing was the 13-inch iPad Air, previously only available in 11, M2 chip, has a landscape camera, which I never realized, again, because I haven't used an iPad on a daily basis for some time. I didn't realize how much people wanted this. People were going crazy about this.
Oh yeah, I'm one of them. Them because when I open up my iPad, I'm on landscape. I don't open it up on vertical. And literally my hand is covering the camera every single time. And so it just stops, just can't recognize. And then I have to punch the freaking code in. I'm like, no, that's not why we have face recognition. I hate this thing. And I honestly didn't even think about it until I wasn't even asking for it. I just thought, well, I was just living with this pain, right? Which is not really that painful, but it was annoying. And then immediately when they said that,
and enough people felt that way that Apple was like, all right.
When I heard that, I literally was like, oh my God, yes. And Tom was like, wait, shh, they're still talking, because I was yelling so loud. Yes, the landscape. You know how much I was literally, you know how much I it's like,
well, okay, but like, so like, let's think about this. Like, why did everybody hate where the camera was beforehand? Also, it was for, FaceTime, right?
Yeah.
But going forward, most people, not everybody, but most people want that landscape camera, not only to take photos, which they do, but also when you end up like FaceTiming or taking photos that are shared with people, the landscape makes more sense. It feels like a picture, a real picture.
Right. Because otherwise, you do find yourself sometimes going like this, looking because the camera is over like here, like, huh? I mean, even though it makes it look good, it's still awkward to be like looking over, look at the camera. Okay. It's not natural to have it over on the right side like that, unless you're going to do it vertically, which is not the way you generally want to take photos, So,
No, like, unless you're like going for, I don't know. I mean, we could have a whole show about like vertical versus
vertical.
landscape,
Yeah.
because, they both exist for a reason, all good. But yes, a lot of people excited about the landscape camera. Also, a couple new colors.
I love the colors of the Air. I mean, I wish the Pro had purple. I'm telling you right now, Sarah, I love it.
You're a purple person.
I am a purple person. I love it.
Not physically.
No,
but you like purple.
I love purple, and I did buy like I can't remember for my phone, which 2 generations ago was, there was a lavenderish color. I definitely went to make sure and got that one. It's the Air, and I generally do prefer the Pro, but I do appreciate that they threw in some extra colors. It's really beautiful. The blue is really beautiful. So it's not just, space gray and space black.
And it's very, I mean, it's not deep purple. It's like a light lilac.
Yeah, the phone was a little bit deeper.
It's actually pretty nice.
Yeah. And I mean, you can get a cover. I have a cover on mine, so I can have a color and stuff like that. But it's still nice to have it already embedded, as the color of your device. So have fun with that, guys. Whoever's going to get the iPad Air, it looks beautiful. I can't wait to see it in person.
It does. And for those of you who are in the market, now storage goes up to 1 terabyte. It starts at 128, now goes up to 1 terabyte. 512 is another option. Didn't used to be there for the Air before. So, you've got an 11, 13-inch M2 chip, landscape camera, color options, bigger storage if you want, starting at $599, which again, I mean, that's the 128 option. So it's going to be a lot more expensive if you get the 1 terabyte option, but really nice. And what was funny from the keynote is, and I was thinking that they were going to make this a New York thing because of the timing. Like 7 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m., Eastern time. Maybe this is going to be like we're going to like go hard in on New York stuff. Now, they did a real nice library shot from Berkeley, UC Berkeley, for anybody who's not familiar. And so still West Coast, but my point is, I think that they were going for the iPad Air, being like, if you're a student, this is your device. This is what you want. Look at all these beautiful students in this beautiful library, just like hanging out, using our devices.
Exactly. I mean, the new iPad Airs are pretty darn close in specs to my own iPad Pro right now, 11-inch. I'm like, they upgraded that thing to be as close as possible to what I have, and probably lighter too. We'll probably talk about comparisons later, but it's a decent upgrade. Decent. There's the library if you're watching on video.
Yeah. I mean, lovely. I was like, oh, where's that? I didn't go to Berkeley, obviously. I'm like, never been in that library before. Looks pretty nice. But speaking of the iPad Pro, let's talk about this, because this was really the belle of the ball.
Yeah.
So we've got an 11 and 13-inch M4, which was everybody expected it, but sort of
Mhm.
thought that maybe Apple wouldn't actually come out with this. And I mean, I was I was listening, drinking my coffee this morning, being like, they're not gonna do it. They're gonna figure out how to make the M3 sound so good. And sure enough, they were like, no, we're not gonna do the M3. We're gonna do the M4 because the iPad Pro is that cool. Lot of respects here, Eileen.
Yeah,
I
a
think
lot.
the first thing that I sort of was like, almost spit up my coffee was the fact that the 11-inch is actually thicker than the 13-inch.
Yeah.
Where I was like, that doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But
Why couldn't it
okay.
have been the same? Like, why couldn't it have been the same? Like, I don't quite
The
understand that.
same, or even the smaller one being thinner. I don't know.
Yeah.
Weird. The 13-inch, I believe, is 5.1 millimeters. The 11-inch is 5.3. So, I mean, we're,
Yeah.
splitting hairs here.
Yeah.
But they are very thin. I was looking online to see what people were, first reactions of this, and people were like, oh, that's gonna bend. Oh, you don't want to sit on that. And I'm like, well, I mean, no.
You don't want to sit on the current one
put your
either.
iPhone in the toilet. Like, I mean, you take care of your electronics, you're probably gonna be fine. But
Like,
yes, very, very thin.
Yeah.
Very thin.
I mean, they were comparing it to the iPod Nano. Like when was the last time they even muttered the iPod Nano in a conversation for an event, right? And all of a sudden it's like, it's smaller than the Nano or thinner than the Nano. Like, oh, we're going there. We're going there. Okay.
I guess because back in the day, the iPod Nano didn't need a ton of battery. So Apple's like, we did it. We put that battery in there and it's thinner than ever. Interestingly enough, the battery was never mentioned in this keynote.
Oh, good
Never
point.
once.
Good point. So
So
you're just going to need this connected the whole time, aren't you?
well, what I believe, I don't know. I had it in my notes earlier, but I believe it's 10 hours of battery on a full charge, using it, as a workhorse. Which is, what it was before. It's not better though. And that's why Apple never mentioned that.
Mm-hmm.
So, there are a lot of people who are like, yeah, I mean, it's cool that it's thinner, but like, wouldn't more battery life be better? I don't know where you stand on this, Eileen, but yeah, I think, for a lot of people, it's like, I mean, it wasn't like that heavy before. I would prefer, more battery life because that's actually what, makes sense for me doing work.
I mean, I've had my iPad Pro for almost a year now, and I do have to plug it in halfway through the day. Like it doesn't, because I use it, I've got double screen. I'm doing one thing over here. I might be watching a video. I'm working this thing, but it goes to, all of a sudden, after several hours, I'll see it at 50%. I'm like, oh, okay. Let me plug that in. And it charges real quick, but I still have to do it, So that, you're right. Like I didn't even think about the battery when, until now. And you're right. They omitted. So, things that make you go, So hopefully it's not worse than, what we have now, which isn't bad. It's just, you have to charge it,
You have to think about it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You have to think about like, oh, okay, I'm working from home, so it's not a problem. But if you don't, you got to have that charger ready just in case. So, yeah, I mean, I imagine also with all of the things that that they're touting the iPad Pro to do, that's working it hard because for creatives using a lot of these different programs, whether it be the Adobe Suite, Final Cut Pro, even, Procreate, like all of this stuff, you're really working your iPad and then playing video. And they were touting how, it's going to be able to do even more apps at the same time. So the battery life is going to be important.
100%. And I think that, I don't know. I mean, again, Apple didn't really tell us this, but the takeaway is it's going to be a better device with the same battery life. So you're not losing battery life. You can do more with the same 10 hours or so of battery life, but something to consider. Yeah. We've also got I gotta give it up to Apple for just inventing words such as tandem OLED. It's like, okay. All right.
I'm really glad I watched it again. I watched it twice. It's only 37 minutes, so there's plenty, I had time.
Yeah.
So
the better part of an hour watching it twice.
Right. Yeah. And I was like, okay, they talk about the OLED display. What happened? And then I was like, wait, tandem OLED. But I'm looking at the specs online and they're touting the Ultra Retina XDR display. And I'm like, oh, okay, which is using tandem OLED technology.
Yeah.
I literally was thinking about how to talk about this here. Like, what would our listeners want to get out of this?
Yeah, exactly. Like, since we come from a consumer angle for the most part, like Ultra Retina XDR display, tandem OLED. It's like, okay, it's OLED and HDR. Okay.
It's all right, double the OLED though, all Sarah. Right. Double the OLED.
Yeah. It's all, listen, it certainly makes the display better than ever. That is true. Yes. I feel like they are just looking at thesauruses and making up words at this point because Apple has to be different than everybody else, talking about the same kind of stuff. But I think it does seem like, listen, if you have not had an iPad Pro in the past, which I have not, and you love a laptop, but maybe you would like something more versatile that is just, packing the same kind of power as a MacBook, this is your device. I don't know that it makes me want to have both. I feel like if you have both, you're kind of doing the same thing in two different ways. But I gotta say, because Apple brings me in sometimes, watching, the folks with the iPad Pro and the new trackpad, Magic Keyboard, which is very nice. I was like, that is pretty nice. And I could maybe get rid of my laptop. What am I talking about? So that's how they get you.
Yeah. So you actually thought about it. You actually had like a moment of maybe I could do this.
Because I, and a lot of my friends always they make fun of me. They're like, Sarah, you don't really use your phone that much. And I'm like, my phone is the thing that I use when I'm outside of the home. At home, I want a keyboard. I want a big screen. I'm not always sitting in front of my, my big screen in the office, but I like the laptop. Like, it's not weird for me to have that on my lap, at night, doing my thing. But, it doesn't have touch, and the touch screen of the iPad makes it really, really cool. And that actually does change, what you can do. I was about to say off hours when you're not in your office, but that is your office.
Right.
And that's awesome.
I think, and I posed this later for us to discuss, but I'm still a little hesitant to only go iPad, even with these new upgrades. But maybe we'll talk about that later. But it's I think the upgrades are great, especially if I think you're the perfect candidate, Sarah. Like you don't have one right now and you haven't used it for a long time. So this could be a great like re-entry back in. And you get all the bells and whistles and whatever else is announced at WWDC that's going to work, all the new stuff, AI related, which they didn't say anything really about. They just sort of threw it around, a couple of mentions as related to some apps, but they didn't really go into it.
I know.
See you in a couple weeks.
I know. I was like, oh, come on, Apple. But I'm like, yeah, they're going to save it for WWDC.
Yeah, they wanted to sort of whet our appetite, but they were alluding to it, basically.
Totally.
Why put the M4 on this device if you're not going to like do the cool stuff with it? But we don't know what that is.
Well, so a couple of things that they mentioned, to, I don't know, be cool, like M4 chip. Fastest ever. We're the best in the biz, very Apple-y. Final Cut Pro got some updates. There was in the keynote, there was one very short but cool example of like, you can now just, have like a action figure in front of a background and then change the background.
Yeah.
That's what the M4 can do. And it was like, well, that's actually pretty cool. But, do I need to do that for my life? Very much depends on how much of a creator you are, or, just kind of like, playing games, which Apple, that's a funny thing about Apple is like, they always sort of like throw in like, or just sit back and play your favorite game.
Pay a lot for this. Buy the new pencil and the Magic Keyboard.
Yeah,
blah, blah, blah.
Just so you know, ray tracing better than ever. Also on your favorite game. But if you're a creator, we've really leveled up. So I feel like there are and a lot of people in my life, because I'm sort of like the tech person, will sort of ping me after an event like this and be like, so like what's the cool thing? And I'm like, I don't know, man. I mean, do you want a new iPad? Do you want a thinner iPad? Do you play a lot of games? Do you have a PC? Like what? Like, I don't know.
Are you a filmmaker? Like I could see filmmake, like, which is not a lot, right? But if you are, like, I will say the Final Cut Pro thing, because I work in video and I edit, I'm like, oh, this is cool. So you mean,
Totally.
the updates is like you could watch and just hot switch on your iPad and have multiple cameras already set up, and then it is on your timeline, so you don't have to do a lot of the heavy lifting of the edit is potentially gone, which is great, and that was really cool. But those are for people who really need that kind of thing. I mean, do I need to do that? No, I don't. I'm not creating stories right now like that would need it. We certainly have a system here that works quite well for what we do, but it's a cool. I mean, I know who they're going after. They're going after the students. They're going after, people who want to be the next. I'm going to use his name, John Chu, because he was the one at the beginning of the keynote with the Vision Pro editing, from far away, giving notes with his Vision Pro. Well, he's probably got the iPad Pro, and we'll use that in some way, shape, or form. Someone's going to make a cool music video with that. So I thought that was really cool. The Logic stuff, it's beyond me because I'm not a musician, but I do know a lot of people who like to strip the music and just hear the vocals, hear vocal quality, or just, isolate whatever, instrument. And that seems interesting. I didn't know that you couldn't do that because I don't do Logic, but cool. I think like both of those I think are still subscription, right? So that's, like, okay, well, you got to subscribe to that, just like you have to subscribe to Adobe products as well.
So I use Logic Pro. I bought it some years ago when I was sort of like getting into the podcast production era. Why did I choose Logic? I don't really know. Over the years, people have been like, "Oh, you have so many other options," and I'm like, "Yeah, well, this is what I'm doing." So, I went in on Logic. I love Logic. So I don't actually know if Logic Pro 2 requires me to buy it again. Haven't gotten into that. What I will say is Logic is it's an instrumental tool, but it's also a podcast tool. I use it to edit podcasts, to produce them, to engineer them. And a lot of what Apple showed me today about Logic, I was like, huh, interesting. So I could just like make a song instead of, having a song that somehow was, licensed from somewhere else, which also is an option, pull it into a track. But like, I was like, huh, that's interesting. That could be really great for a lot of people who are creative, but don't necessarily have the funds to, spend a lot of money, pulling stuff in.
So are you thinking about making a new theme song for us then, Sarah?
I could.
They made it seem pretty easy.
Yeah, they did. Yeah. Well, maybe that could be kind of a fun thing. Actually,
it could be a fun project, and then we could be like,
I hadn't thought about that, but I'm every time I'm in Logic, I'm like, oh man, they're talking about, drums and guitars, and like all I'm doing is like taking people's ums out, and taking my own like smack, like just like dumb stuff with vocals out. But yeah, that could be something. That could be something. I'll get back to you on this.
Yeah, I was just looking up Logic Pro on the iPad site, and it's asking me to get it before okay. I'm just gonna download it and tell you what I think. I've never used it before.
Logic Pro. For anybody who's sort of like, what is it? It's GarageBand plus 1,000. That's what it is. So if you use GarageBand for, I don't know, a variety of whatever, Logic is just, you want to go deeper. Why did I pick Logic Pro over GarageBand for podcasts? I don't know. I like to make it hard for myself sometimes. But it is great. It really is. It is a lovely product.
I lost you there for a minute. Sorry. My headphones tripped out. I believe singing the praises of Logic.
Doesn't like Logic.
I don't know what happened.
No, Sarah, I didn't hear you.
I was like, what's happening here? Why is these AirPod Maxes, they were charged before I even they were in the charger. I'm like, there's no way that there's no charging. I don't know what's going on here. So I just downloaded, I could try it for free. They don't want to tell me how much it costs. Okay, fine. I could try it for free, Sarah. Maybe I'll start.
Well, make sure what I always do is like, try it for free. Yeah, I'm down with that. And then I set a little thing in my calendar of like, get out of here before they charge you, $199 or, whatever. I don't even know. But yeah, play around with it. It's fun. If anybody is familiar with GarageBand, I will say like, it looks like that, but like, again, like on steroids. It's a great program.
All right.
I like it. I like it very much. All right. So let's talk about the Pencil Pro.
Oh,
Eileen,
yes.
oh, the Pencil Pro. I said on DTNS earlier, the thing I loved most about the new Pencil Pro is that it's on Find My now.
Whoa,
So that when you
100%.
lose it, you know where it is.
I have not lost my pencil yet, but I have had a few moments of panic of like, where the where did it go? So, just to know that I could find it would be amazing. I don't know that I personally need the haptic, but I think that's a cool feature. I am slightly disappointed that I cannot use the 2nd gen pencil with the new iPad. So if I do decide to upgrade, I gotta get a whole new pencil, sadly. And then maybe sell this one. But I'm a big fan of the pencil. I use it even to just navigate, like I don't always use my fingers. And I write a lot. So I'm curious to know what designers and artists think of it when they, do their little barrel roll and squeeze to see the menus, how much more convenient that is when you're working on a particular app. I think that's really cool. I feel like all of these designs were created for, again, the creatives out there, and they know who their audience is and they want to, tap into them and their needs. They've probably heard a lot of what works for them and what doesn't work for them. So yeah, I'm sad that I have to upgrade the whole dang thing in order to kind of figure it out, which I'm not going to do right now. But that Find My is probably the best selling part of it.
I'm telling you, everybody who has a pencil is going to be like, I lost it. And boy, did that suck trying to find it. Doing a little just give me a little beep, beep, beep. So I find it. I'm telling you, that is clutch. That said, I've never used the Apple Pencil. I've used the I have a Remarkable 2 that has its own pen, and haptic feedback, no, but it definitely has it is, if you want to write something down as if it's on a yellow pen, legal pad. It is awesome. It really is.
Yeah.
It truly is. It feels like having a pen, a pencil, a calligraphy pen, like all of that stuff. And I am confident that the Apple Pencil is the same way. What I thought was interesting from the keynote today was that there was, the haptic feedback was not so much about like touching it and feeling it. It was before you touch the screen, you get a little, some options of like, oh, what are you trying to do here?
Yeah.
And I think as a creator, and I know many creators are really into this stuff. I mean, it just makes it that much easier for you to do your stuff, and to feel like this is a pencil, but like a very smart pencil.
Real quick before I forget, Logic is $4.99 a month, says W Scottis 1. So and you get right now they're giving away a free trial, but $4.99 a month apparently.
I wonder if I am grandfathered in to something different. Yeah, I don't know.
Long time users.
I have not thought about this because I just have it, and through iCloud, I can just put it on any device. Interesting.
Yeah, there are a few things. Sorry, going back to the pencil, but there are a few things that I could do hovering on certain apps that you could just kind of see, like it highlights, like where do you want to actually touch? It'll like move, you'll see like bold, italicize, underline.
Yeah.
If you just
Yeah.
hover above it, you could like see, oh, yep, I want to touch that, or oop, that's where I want to go. So, but this is
Right.
more advanced. This what they're doing with the new pencil is more advanced. So,
Totally.
exciting times.
Exciting times. I'm also a person who just like never has a pen in my house. I don't have a printer. I don't like, if someone's like, "Oh, can I jot something down?" I'm like, gosh, I probably have a pen somewhere in my apartment, kind of thing. So like, I am not an Apple Pencil Pro. It's not for me, but I think that, well, it's for a lot of people, but I also am like, for $129, it sounds pretty great, with the new iPad Pro. It's so thin, it's so great, and you've got the new Magic Keyboard, which actually does sound great. So the whole thing, and this is a funny thing that Apple did during its announcement. It was talking about like the Magic Keyboard coming in 2 colors, black or gray, to make sure that it was kind of match the iPad Pro that you had chosen, and the trackpad bigger, haptic feedback. They mentioned that the function keys now part of it. And it was sort of a throwaway line, but it was, I think it was Tim Cook. Correct me if I'm wrong, but he was like, this is basically just using a MacBook.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's interesting, because, I mean, they are direct competitors.
Right.
But when you look at the iPad Pro with the Magic Keyboard as it's being presented, you're sort of like, so why would I get the MacBook? This is sort of the better option because it's more versatile. You've got the touch screen, and the keyboard is the same, if not better.
I still have a pause, to be honest with you. And you know what? The keyboard is much better. I am like super excited about the function keys being added. Certainly, if you have this, you're right. You probably don't need the if you are happy with this, you don't need another device. You don't need a laptop. But I pause because of iPad OS compared to Mac OS. That is my barrier to entry of only having the iPad, because I have some quibbles with it. I try to really use my iPad on the couch, all day. And there are times when I'm just like, forget it. I got to go to my laptop. Like, oh, this is not working for me. It's faster if I just go back into my office and open up my laptop. Until that happens, I could even probably edit on the iPad fine. I probably want a bigger. I probably want the 13. So I can probably do most things. But there are some moments with some apps and some, you're on iPad OS versus on the Mac OS that drive me crazy. So, yeah, I don't know. But I also don't have a keyboard, Sarah. So I've been using my iPad without a keyboard. I've been using it with the pencil alone. And so maybe if I magically have that keyboard, and I've been thinking about getting a third party, maybe I would change my tune. So, the iPad user in me that's been using it for almost a year has not fully equipped with everything. So maybe I don't really know the magic until I get a keyboard. I will say that.
All of this said, let's all, remember that, Apple is saying like starting at $9.99. Great. But, if you're going to like max out on storage, that iPad Pro is, closer to $1,500. Then the Pencil Pro is, $130. Then the Magic Keyboard is another $300. Like if you want to go all in on like the top of the line, this is not in any way undercutting a MacBook. In fact, it, you know, as you've said, like it might seem kind of rich for your blood. Unless you know that it's going to work for you, you know, in whatever scenario you're using it for. So that's just another thing to think about.
I think I always point to the designers, you know, as the main example. There's got to be other examples, but you know, as if you were creating and drawing and you needed something more you preferred something more portable, then maybe the iPad is for you. Because I mean, drawing on your laptop, you still need, you know, another device in order to draw, right? You can't just have your laptop. So I don't know. It's very personal, this device, I feel like, and which is why there's so many different models now, including, you know, I feel like the models that shall not be named. No, but the iPad 10 has been discounted for $349, which is nice, as an entry, like a true entry point, right? Like, if you're even on the fence, this is probably the one to go to, right? Although the iPad mini folks might have other things to say about that conversation. I feel like they're very passionate. There is a very passionate iPad mini group. I think there are a lot of them, and we heard them loud and clear.
We did. Should we read our email from Peter, who lives just outside Toronto? Hello, Peter. Toronto. Sorry. I know that's how you guys say it. He says, as an iPad mini user, I had to yell at my radio when listening to the latest episode. That was, I think, our last episode, when it was discussed that Apple might discontinue the iPad mini as the phone sizes were getting closer. Two big reasons for me that having an iPad mini allows me to get a regular size phone that would fit in my pocket instead of a Max. And more importantly for the iPad is that the iPad mini can use the Apple Pencil. No iPhone can. Very good point. Very good point. Peter, he also says the mini is probably the best media consumption size. It's not too big, great as an e-reader for productivity with an Apple Pencil. It's just a great little note-taking device that will even fit in the back pocket of men's jeans. Thank you for bringing more of a user perspective, but please don't add to any more rumors about my iPad mini being canceled. It isn't updated as much as the other lines already. Have a great day. Okay, so first of all, Peter, thank you for writing in. For anybody who has thoughts on anything we talk about, please do write in feedback@applevisionshow.com. So what was funny about the announcement today is that the iPad mini got no upgrades, nothing.
Yeah, it got a mention.
But it was mentioned sort of as a throwaway, and in you know, the last, like, I don't know, 2 minutes of the show, of being like, oh, and also after all of this, you know, we got new iPad Airs, iPad Pros, M4s, Apple Pencil, Magic Keyboard. Oh, and also there is the iPad mini. And
like, that was it.
It was sort of mentioned. Like, and we did it. Which, I mean, at least they didn't, you know, cancel. The line is still alive. Did not get any upgrades though.
It's on life support. I mean, the 10 got the discount. Like, I was expecting at least a mention of a discount. No, nothing. No. Just we also have it. Oh, and you also have it. Okay, thanks, Tim. I immediately thought of you, Sarah. When you said it, I was like, oh man, what is Sarah gonna say?
I mean, I don't really I don't hate the iPad mini. Like, I love it for you people out there. I love it for you. I don't care. I just don't want one. But I think that Peter speaks for a lot of people when he's like, you know, it's a great form factor for me. I love it for reading. I love it for, kind of casual, it also works with the Apple Pencil. You make an iPhone as big as possible, doesn't work with a pencil. Very good point. Very good point. Maybe it will one day, but it doesn't right now. They are two different beasts. And I think, Eileen, you were mentioning to me earlier that some folks on our TikTok were saying the same thing. Like, I love the iPad mini. Like, what is the problem?
What are you two talking about?
Nothing. I don't know. I mean, I don't want to be like, oh, I hate the iPad mini. I don't. I just don't have one, and I don't need one. But a lot of people love them, and unfortunately, the iPad announcement did not include the mini. Not today, anyway.
We did have one comment that I thought was funny on TikTok. Yes, I need the mini. I do not want cell service on a big ass phone. But aren't they getting bigger? Anyway. Also important
cell
to be able
service
to
on a big ass phone. I'm like, but I have a big ass phone with cell service, so
they're so close.
Cell service in general, I want that on all things.
I mean,
like even on my laptop, I use my phone to give. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. Thanks, Verizon.
On a practical level, I can't fit this iPad 11 in all my purses. They don't fit. So the smaller one be able to fit on more.
Very true. Very true. I remember, to harken back to, picture it, 2011 or whenever the iPad mini first launched. I think it was probably 2011, 2012. I remember, I was like, I'm not going to get it. And a friend of mine went over to her house and she was, reading. And I was like, whoa, you got the mini? And she's like, I love this. It's perfect.
Yeah.
And, so like, I get it. If there's a form factor that works for you, awesome. Like no one's right or wrong here.
No,
not at
no
all.
one is.
Yeah. Don't know why all my lights just went off in my house, but that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, like I mentioned earlier, it really is personal, these devices. And, should you upgrade to the new iPads? It depends. I mean, if you don't have one and you were already thinking about getting one, congratulations. You've got the latest models to choose from.
Indeed.
And I would choose the latest models, whether it be the Air or the Pro. Definitely get those to me before, if you can manage it before getting the iPad 10, I would go to the Air or the Pro. It just, again, it all depends. But if you just need something simple in your life, maybe that iPad mini, you can just rock that one and be plenty happy. It's nice and small and can do everything that you need. So
don't let anybody tell you different. You like that iPad mini, you rock that mini.
So what do you think, Sarah? Are you disappointed for today? Are you ambivalent? Are you excited? I mean, I really feel like we don't know yet the true capabilities of the new iPad Pros and the M4s until WWDC. So I feel like there's a cliffhanger. It's not done. We're still waiting.
That's a very good point. Yeah.
I definitely would not upgrade until you hear more in a month and then decide. But I mean, I guess if you're just desperate and you're ready to do it, whatever, it doesn't matter. This is the one I'm going to get. Go for it. But if there's a choice to be had, let's wait and see, because I don't think we got our ooh, ah moment. We got our what we expected. We kind of knew the rumors were out there circling. So, to the two of us covering this event, we're
Apple delivered on all the rumors, but didn't give us anything that was ooh, crazy, out of left field at all.
They gave us that crushing video.
And again, for a 37-minute keynote, chef's kiss on that. But yes, I'm with you. I want to know what's going on with iOS 18. Yeah. 18. And more about what Apple is going to do with AI. And what the M4 chips are going to be capable of. I feel like Apple was very careful to be like, you can do, certain things in Final Cut, and it's like, yeah, okay,
what?
But yeah, what are we doing? What are we doing here? As far as yeah,
the neural engine. Like, okay, like, can I just see it in motion? How about that?
I mean, I'll tell you right now, if I were in the market for an iPad, which I'm just not, because I don't know, I have a computer around every corner right now, I mean, lucky me. But if I were, I would get that Pro 13-inch, with the Magic Keyboard, and I don't even know if I would want the pencil, just because I don't know if I'd like have a use for it. I probably would if I had one. I have never had one, so like whatever. But the whole idea of replacing the laptop, very interesting to me. And I know a lot of people have, tried it and either been like, yeah, it doesn't replace the laptop. But some people say like, no, it's actually better for me. More versatile, easier to, travel with, et cetera, et cetera. So, everybody's different. And that's kind of the fun of all this.
Yeah. I feel like they are trying, like, I'm sure Apple has done enough, surveys and looked at the data to kind of know the demographics and the, who are the power users, what do those users need versus the more casual users, and they're trying to cover everybody, and I think they are. I think they're doing a pretty good job. I think, it sounded, I just felt like Tim Cook was so proud. He was like the proud papa. This is the biggest iPad update in years. And I could tell it, like, it's
really true. For it, even for Tim. Really
I was like, should I cry for you? Are you like, you feel like your group graduated and now you feel good enough to show it off to the world? Like, I felt like, oh, he's like this proud papa. Like, this is not on life support.
Well, and that's when it started, because of like how he was like, best ever, and like just really like going for it. Like I was like, they're not going to announce the M4. I was so sure that like they were like going hard on like stupid stuff because they weren't going to. They did,
Yeah. No,
I think, media coaches, like, what are you going to do?
Well, he was just truly proud. Like, it was showing.
He was
like
proud. Yeah. Wearing his iPad made Nike Airs. So, yeah.
This is the update you've all been waiting for. And I even have shoes to prove it. Built by these new devices that you don't even know yet are so amazing. And I'm about to tell you why. Like, damn, son.
Most
okay.
amazing ever. And let's kick it over to Jeff.
Let's get on the BART train. And we're like on the train. And I'm hearing
Tim. Like, literally, you're like the MC that like doesn't actually MC anything.
Right. He's at the end. Like he recorded his stuff like weeks ago and everybody else is scrambling last minute. He's like, just give me the intro. This is
the most amazing event you'll ever see. Okay, bye.
Team, fill in the blank. Ready? Go.
And then you got the guy on BART. I have to say,
standing too. I was like, wow, that vehicle is going.
The
I'm
best
like,
part of this, and this is a throwaway thing, but like the best part of the whole thing, and they've been doing this for a few, cycles now. This is this is not unique to today, but like, I'm like, I want to be one of those people in the background who's just sort of like, I've got a Vision Pro. I am not even listening to the guy on BART because, I'm just living my life
with the device. I already have it.
I'm like, how do I get that job? I want to be an extra on an Apple keynote event in the future.
Apple,
hear you me, Tim Cook. Hear you me.
Sarah would plug your device like no one else and look good doing it.
All I have to do is just like look down and like have a phone and just be like, don't look at the executive talking. Just look out the window. Oh, we're on the train. Yeah. Oh my gosh. So funny. I couldn't stop.
There he is.
I couldn't stop looking.
Those of you watching on video, John Turnus just stands in the. This is a fake BART train, right? Because you don't just stand in the middle like that.
You know what? I want to know. So, for anybody not familiar with this, this part of the keynote was video. So, like the train was moving. You're seeing trees go by and whatever. But for anybody who's not familiar with BART, here we go. It's rapid transit.
Right.
In the Bay Area, and a lot of people use it every day. It also is sometimes touted as being the worst.
Yeah.
For a variety of reasons. A lot of anyway, that's a story for another time. But the whole sort of like, we're on BART. It's so pretty outside. I'm like, that is not the average BART ride.
Well, I was thinking that too. It's not this clean. And
you're not like looking at like beautiful sun and like, I don't know, foliage outside.
You're not going to just stand in the middle of that train and just without wobbling. Like, I'm like, dude.
That's what I was looking at the people and I'm like, they all look so happy. They don't even know he's there. I want to do this. Somebody hire me to be an Apple Extra on the next BART ride.
You can even be just the guy
announce, I don't know, some other iPad or whatever.
There's like this guy back there who's just got his backpack on looking out the window. He doesn't even have a device. There's a phone, there's a 13-inch. The woman's got the AirPod Max. Like, I'd be afraid to wear that. Somebody might yank it off my head.
Oh my gosh. It's so funny. It's so Apple. Like, we're just like, we're so happy. Everything is zen.
In the meantime, in the next car, shenanigans are happening.
Everything is rarely zen on BART, but okay. I don't know. Yeah.
And it's sunny.
Does BART even go to the Apple campus at this point? No.
I don't think it does.
No. Yeah, those people it doesn't go past the airport.
Well, they're clearly on the East Bay side. That's where more sun is, right?
Oh, I guess so.
Maybe.
Yeah, because they were going to Berkeley.
Right.
That was the library thing. Oh, okay. All right, Apple. All right. You got me.
That's fine.
I'm still going to tell you, I've seen some things on BART. It wasn't like that.
Yeah. Sorry, Bart, but there have been things.
You're fine. Keep on.
Well, we covered a lot. We covered a lot of ground. That was a lot. And
we did.
I'm
even
really
before the show, Eileen and I were like, well, is it all iPads? And actually it was.
It was.
It's a new hopefully you had as much fun as we did.
And let us know too if you're going to buy any of these, if you're interested, or if you I don't know what works for you. That's what I'd like to know. If you already have an iPad, like what I'm really curious what you use it for. Are you not a creative? Like, what do you need it for? Education or I don't know, you just like having a larger device that you can watch videos on, gaming. I'm really curious what other people are using it for, primarily.
Yeah, same. We have Scott Johnson talking with us on Daily Tech News Show tomorrow about the Apple Pencil Pro, and in particular being a creative, somebody who's a very gifted artist. I'm saying that about him. He doesn't say that about himself, but he is very, very gifted. And how excited he is about this, which is going to be awesome. But yeah, for everybody else who has joined us along for this ride, what has resonated with you? What stands out to you? Even if you're not in the market for a new iPad, what does make you, think about upgrading or getting a new device. We're all different, and that's sort of the beauty of all of this. So feedback at applevisionshow.com is where you can let us know. And I think I'm so prolific on Instagram and TikTok. I mean, kudos to Eileen. She is, talk about a creative. You are so fun.
Oh, thank you, Sarah. I really appreciate it. Sometimes I just put myself out there and I just hope that I don't get laughed at, but it's all in the name of the show.
It really, you're great. Like, you have skills that I don't have. Thank you for doing that. And for anybody who isn't already following us on Instagram or TikTok, please do so, because there's a lot of good stuff there. But until next week, I guess we'll just remind you to subscribe if you like the show. If you stumble upon us by accident, applevisionshow.com, anywhere podcasts are available. And, again, send us feedback at applevisionshow.com. Eileen, any last words?
No. Have a good week, everybody, and we'll see you on the socials and next week.
Good week. We're gonna do WWDC in less than a month. So, let's all think about what we want. Until then, we'll see you next week.
I couldn't think of anything funny. I was like, oh, all I wanted to tell you is like, I don't have jury duty tomorrow. But I got to call again on Wednesday. Exciting.
Oh, man, the jury duty. You know what's funny? I feel like if I say this out loud, I'm gonna.
Sure.
I have never had jury duty.
Oh no. Okay. Well,
why don't they want me?
Can I give you my, I've already been selected once and I've been turned down. And so I'm in the system now. So every couple of years, they just threaten me, who knows? What's scary is you have to call in every day. Right. And so I could get called in on Thursday, which is the last day of calling, to go in on Friday. And I would just be like, are you
right? Yeah.
At this point, I wish if that happens, I wish they would have called me on Monday and just to get it, you know what I mean? But no, I don't know. So anyway, it's just a thing, we all have to do potentially, and we'll see.
I got selected for federal jury duty, but then I had to cancel because I was covering for Joe that week.
Oh, but you pushed it?
Now what is that?
Well, it's not the state level, it's the federal.
Well, I get that much, but is it because you were military, or no? It just happens sometimes. Huh.
Another friend of mine told me too, and I told her I had jury duty. She's like, "Oh yeah, I have a federal that I have to go to," but she had a trip, so she had to push it till after her trip. And when she's back in July, I was like, "Oh," and she's a teacher, so I don't know. Categorizations of people.
I had one situation that you're going through right now, Eileen, where it was like, all right, maybe you'll be called, and at the time, I was working. It would have been like a whole thing. Had to call every morning, never got called. That was 15 years ago.
Holy, I have been going through this I actually got a notice. I got a notice,
and they're right. They don't want me.
During the pandemic, apparently I'd got a notice that I never received, and I think it was because we had moved, and so it had gone to my old address, and it wasn't getting forwarded, right? And I didn't change my voter registration yet. And then I got a nasty note that finally came to me that was like, "You could be fined." Blah 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 blah. I'm like, "Well, how much is the fine? Did I just pay that?" And not go. I ended up, doing the whole calling situation, but it was kind of like they had a broken system during the pandemic, and lots of people probably didn't get their notice or whatever, and they were scrambling, and the courts were closed for a long time. So
yeah.
Anyway, ever since I re-registered, they've been on me. They've been on me. They know. They know me. They know.
And every time I move, which is somewhat often, I register with the DMV. I make sure that I'm registered to vote. Like, you can find me, everybody. Like, I'm not hiding or doing anything like strange. And yet no one wants me on jury duty.
Like, do they just keep the same names and then add like a % of the Los Angeles population on a yearly basis? And then if you're not that small percentage, you just keep living your life.
I don't know.
Don't understand. They keep calling me.
I think there are probably a lot of loopholes going on here that I, am happy to, not figure out. But yeah, I don't know. Never done it.
During the pandemic, I was actually really nervous to be in a closed courtroom. We were all still wearing masks. And so I actually asked for a doctor's note because I was kind of anxious about it. And she was like, here, I'll send it. It only pushed it like a month or two, but then I got out of it because I did the calling and they never called me. But I was truly thinking about it at the time. Like, I don't want to be in these closed doors with everybody breathing the same air at that time.
Yeah.
It's
in
like
2020, I'd be like, I'm not going in there. Like, you can't make me do it.
This was 2021, I think. And I was like, oh, yeah.
Even then.
Yeah, I mean, right? Like, not ready for that. Yeah. I don't want to have to sit in that courtroom.
I was talking about this with a friend. Like, when we talk about during the pandemic, it's like,
oh, yeah.
Well, I mean, the pandemic is technically not over, but life has gone back to normal, for many people in many situations. But like, when did that happen? So 2020 was a wash. 2021 kind of a wash.
I
think it was like mid 2022. At least for me. And I was living up north at the time. That it became sort of like, oh, okay, wear a mask if you want, but nobody cares if you don't.
Yeah.
And
took a while.
Nobody's right or wrong. And people are, we've sort of stopped fighting about it, I guess. Yeah.
I think so. I mean, I don't know. I think it's smart to wear it when, you're sick. So I don't want your germs. I don't want you sneezing on me, So
I mean, I'll tell you, like, to this day, it's like, if I feel even the least bit sick, put a mask on.
Yeah.
Everybody else, when I see somebody out with a mask right now, I'm like, you're helping me not be sick. Thank you.
Yeah, I love those. I love the hand sanitizers anywhere. I'm like, oh, cool. Thanks.
Yeah.
Let me just do that.
I think we all, we leveled up on,
I think we did.
Not spreading germs to each other, no matter what it is.
Are you saying no, Amos? Amos is like, no.
I'm in Alaska where people were harassing other people for wearing a mask.
Well, okay. That sucks.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I will see, well, in my neighborhood, I live close to several elementary, middle schools, a lot of kids. And in the morning, I'm walking my dog, and a lot of the kids and the parent or guardian, who's with them, wearing masks. I am not. But I sort of like, wow, kind of an uptick in mask wearing. And I think it's probably just kids and germs and it's safer that way. And I'm like, good for you guys. Good for you guys.
Well, also, kids can get germs so easily. It's like if there's anything to help, like, have the family not all be sick with yet another cold, like.
Exactly.
I know my sister like masks her kids up because it's like, oh, I just don't want to be responsible for spreading it.
Amos knows he has a family of 20. I mean, you got a sick kid, everyone's sick.
People are always saying that, you know, you don't want your kid getting sick and bringing it home. But I tell you what, man, when there's something going around school, if it's not on the danger spectrum of going to the hospital, you're making sure your kid goes to school because you want your kid to go ahead and get it now while it doesn't matter in the younger
and
ages.
get like the immune, get immune to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like go play with Johnny.
Yeah. Get chicken pox.
Yeah, well, there's stuff like that
later.
They have a vaccine for that now, so you can't even send your kids over to play with Johnny when he's got chicken pox.
So hold on a second. Is it true? Like, as a kid, you just don't have to get chicken pox anymore?
Mm-hmm. I know.
That's a bunch of
kids are weak sauce nowadays. Yeah.
Do you know how awful? Like, I mean, chicken pox sucks.
It was the worst part of my Christmas vacation in first grade. Yes.
Well, I got it in high school, so it was really bad.
Oh wow!
Oof.
I don't even remember. I was so young. I think I was like 5 or 6 because my dad got it. My dad got it. He felt awful, and then I got it from him.
I lost my first tooth and got chicken pox at the same Christmas vacation in first grade.
Oh wow! Wow.
Yeah,
Yep.
I got it later in life. My mom swears that I had it like really, like
mildly or something.
Yeah, mildly when I was a kid, and like it didn't stick. I got it real bad in high school.
You had a pimple on your leg, and she's like, "Oh, she's got chicken pox. We're good."
Yeah, she's got chicken pox. She's fine. We're done with this. No, and then it was fine. I mean, I survived, obviously, but to just get a vaccine and not have that would have been the best.
A friend of mine in her adult years, she got shingles. and I was
isn't that it's the
kind
same,
similar
virus?
At the time I was talking to her, I was like, oh, I should probably, should I get the shingles shot? Which I did. And she was like, oh girl, you better, it is off, because she was reminding me, don't you remember when I tried to show you? I was like, oh yeah, I just was like worried I was gonna get don't show me your stomach with the situation. I was like, oh
yeah. One of my aunts had shingles at one point, and I was like, what is this? And she's like, like the chicken pox thing. And I was like,
as an adult,
well, I had chicken pox, so I'm good, right? And she's like, no.
Right.
As an adult, you can still get shingles. And I was like,
in fact, I don't think you can't get shingles unless you've had chicken pox, I think.
Oh yeah, that's what EPOX 50 says. So you might want to get that vaccine. I just got it, so I'm like, all right.
I don't know. I figure if shingles can break through the smallpox vaccine that I've got, then it deserves it.
Deserves it.
Well, I know people have all sorts of feelings about vaccinations, but
that's very true. Yeah.
I don't want shingles, and I certainly don't want chickenpox again, because
Or
apparently
anthrax.
I've had it twice already.
Anthrax is a sucky one.
Anthrax also. No, thank you.
Yep. You have to. It's a set of 3 that you have to get 2 weeks apart. They all feel like a horse kicked you in the arm, and then you have to keep getting the booster shot every 6 months for like 3 years, and then you have to get a booster shot every couple of years.
What?
Oh my!
And every time, for me at least, every time it got worse. Like it hurt more.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
The first one felt like a typhoid shot, and then the next one was like worse than that, and then it just kept getting worse. So yeah, anthrax.
We went dark in our after dark.
Yeah, we did. Yeah,
You're
we
welcome.
did. That's what happens.
I had it spicy in the pre-show and dark in the afters.
Yes, exactly. I mean,
this is Amos on 3 hours of sleep.
Oh, there you go.
3 broken hours at that. 3 1-hour naps. Yes.
No. I mean, there is. I commend you, sir, because I couldn't do that. I mean, I can do like a 4 or 5 hour night here and there, if I don't know, things are weird, but like not
Not
I can't
consistently, yeah.
do an all-nighter. Mm-mm.
No, I can't do it.
I would have the shingles immediately.
Just self-induced shingles.
Oh my god. Oh.
I didn't sleep. All right. Well,
Speaking of which,
yeah.
I didn't sleep. Now my bones hurt.
Aw. Well, you know what? We covered a lot of ground today, everybody.
did.
This was really fun.
So much. So
It
much.
was. So much. So much.
Anyway.
All right.
All right.
Well,
I'm going to edit this bad boy tonight, get it up so people have it in the morning.
Eileen, you're a real warrior. Thanks to everybody who was following along live.
Yes.
And we'll be back to regular programming next week.
Yes.
Which is Monday, immediately following DTNS. So 2:15 p.m. Pacific time. Until then, stay safe and without chickenpox
TTFN.
Or shingles.
or shingles. Yeah.